I honestly can't tell. Like, it's so hot out, I can't tell what on my body is sweat and what is rain.
That's a very the summer storm. That's a rough place to be in.
It's disgusting.
I'm gonna. Is it okay if I scoot this way so I can look
yeah,
at you more?
Yeah, you can sit wherever as long as you're speaking into that microphone.
I'm speaking.
What's up? So today I'm joined by Sam Evans. How you doing, Sam?
I'm good. Oh, we're starting.
Oh, we've been starting. I'm late. We gotta start. We're in it.
Right.
What's up? You just recorded your second special.
I did, or my first special. I did an album before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was the difference?
It was just all audio on my album, but this one I'll put out as a special, probably on my YouTube, maybe somewhere else. I just broke this, and then I'm looking for a record company to put out the audio as well.
And was your first album, was that put out through a record company?
Yeah, Blonde Medicine. Shout out Blonde Medicine, based in San Francisco. Really good people. So.
And what was the difference in terms of preparing for a special versus just an album?
Visual. I had to buy an outfit. I had to buy a fit. I had makeup put on. That was kind of fun. This woman, Justine, I can't remember her last name, but she was great. In fact, during the first set, I was like sweating like a lot. So we stopped halfway through and she like dabbed me with a towel. That was really fun. There's a little more pressure. I don't know. Or maybe it was just because it was my first time, but I felt like I was definitely very keyed up for it.
Did you feel like you felt the same pressure when you were recording an album for the first time, though? Or like, did it just feel like, oh, I'm just doing a show?
No, actually, you're right. Both of them, there's a lot of pressure. In fact, if I can be frank, it's not super fun. It's not really very fun because you're not... it's hard to get out of your head when you're like putting something on wax or committing to like a record of like material that you've worked really hard on. You know what I mean? It's actually very hard. I feel like I'm actually pretty good in high pressure situations, but that one gets to me a lot, recording. So,
well, and this one, so I mean, I've seen you a few times recently working through material that I assume is on the new special. And so there's a lot of like personal stuff in it, right? You're talking about your mom dying. Mm-hmm. You're talking about a breakup.
Yeah.
And so how did it feel? When did you get to a point where you felt like those jokes were ready to be?
I sort of had a close, Steve Rogers, who's a comedian. A friend of the pod. We did longer sets together one night and he was like, you should record that because he's like, it's good. And I think you're ready to record it. And also the other thing was like, my mom died last year. I have been doing the material about her for a while. And I sort of started to realize like, oh, I don't want to be in a place where I am phoning in my dead mom material. So yeah, I was like, I'm going to record it and then I'll likely stop doing it very soon here. Yeah.
Well, she's going to stay dead, so you can...
She'll stay dead. She'll stay dead. Or she comes back, and that's the next hour.
And then, dude, that would be a crazy hour, because everybody's got, I mean, grief, comedy, but...
Dead mom, but risen again mom.
Risen again. Who has that? Who's doing that?
That's when I'll go to the Fringe.
Have you done Fringe?
No. And I don't, I'm very intimidated by it. And, everything that everybody says, no disrespect to the Fringe, is that it's a wild amount of money, mm-hmm. And it's very tough and really tests your resolve. And I have neither. I don't have a wild amount of money to spend on it, and I don't want to go and bomb for the Scots.
Yeah, they don't deserve it.
They don't deserve it.
I do. It's something I want to do next year, but... What
do you got an idea for a show? What are you gonna do?
It's actually kind of similar to your where it's a combination of a breakup and grief.
Okay.
So the title of the show is Love, Death, and Dogs.
All right.
And so it's talking about my brother dying when I was 16 and my most recent relationship as well as other ones. And then also how I love dogs. But the thing about dogs is that they die. And so it's just like everything you love will die.
Yeah.
And so it's just like kind of combining the three of those together. I did like 10 minutes on a show at Caveat last night. So that was my first time. I'd done the material about my brother a few times when I've done like a half hour. Mm-hmm. And occasionally I'll do some jokes about it in shorter sets, although that's much harder. But last night was the first time doing it just because I was booked on this show and they booked me to do non-traditional stand-up. And so I was like, all right, well, that feels like a good opportunity to sort of like break out the solo show that I started writing.
Yeah. But yeah, does non-traditional stand-up mean like just be a little bit sad about it?
I think it because it's caveat, sure. So they're like, there's some people doing PowerPoints and so it's like PowerPoint storytelling, just like something that's not like what you'd be doing at a normal show, I guess. To make it more of like a variety show. So that's the idea that I want to do. And I also feel like in order to sort of get this type of like show correct, I feel like that's the thing where I'm like, it has to be done in like a fringe setting because it's just so much harder to like work through that stuff in just like 10-minute sets in New York.
For sure it is. It definitely, you really have to read the room of like what you can get people. Every time I was running Dead Mom stuff, especially in New York, it was like if like a 15-minute set, I would give myself like the first 7 to be like, just throw like lighthearted bangers, get them to like you. And then I would just like kind of like confess halfway through and I'd be like, listen, I'm going to do this now. Please don't be weird and just remember that you're okay and I'm okay. And then you would do it. Yeah.
I had, and last night, the way they brought me up was by being like, oh, he's working on some stuff for a solo show he's writing. And, even still, when I got to the part where in like towards the end of the set where I was like, my brother died when I was 16, it's like, so quiet. And then I was just like, yeah, that was my reaction too. I didn't think it was funny when it happened. But so it's, when did you start doing stand-up?
A long time ago. I was 23. I had just turned 23. So I've been doing it for 16 years. Yeah, it'll be 16 years in September. Jesus Christ.
Wow. And you started in Ohio or in Chicago?
In Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio. So I'm from Toledo originally, but I went to school at the University of Cincinnati. And then I started comedy like my last year of college. And I was going to go to grad school, but I was like, I'll just do this because I like it and see how it goes.
And then you moved to Chicago after that, or you just moved here?
I came straight here.
Oh, I guess you're just friends with all the Chicago people. I assumed that you did stand up there.
I know him pretty well. My best friend, who I lived with in Cincinnati, we were doing comedy, and he moved to Chicago the same time that I moved here.
Who's that?
A guy named Alex Stone, who now writes in L.A.
Okay.
And then I knew guys like Tom Takar. He started comedy in Bloomington, Indiana, at the Comedy Attic, and that was like maybe 2 hours away. So we would all form these relationships from going to like your scene and you'd come to ours and like we all knew each other.
Right. Just sort of like that Midwest connection. Yeah.
Very much so. Renan Hirschberg was in, I think, Louisville.
Yeah.
So we knew him because that was a couple hours away. So you just get to know everybody in these like Midwest towns that have like decent or very good comedy clubs sometimes. Yeah.
And how long were you doing stand-up in Cincinnati before moving here?
I think it was just under 3 years. Yeah. Maybe 3.5. I can't remember. I moved in, I started in September 2009, and then I moved in January of 2003. So a little over 3 years, but I moved in January of 2013 to New York. Yeah.
And what was the push? What was the thing that made you go, I think I'm ready to move to New York?
I was already planning on going. And in fact, I knew I was going to leave Cincinnati, but I went to like Atlanta, and I think I went to Chicago, and I went someplace in New York, and I was like, I think I'm going to go to New York. I won the Funniest Person in Cincinnati contest that summer, and actually it was very sweet. My mom pulled me aside afterwards, and I was already planning on going, but it was like a very sweet, gentle push. She was like, this is like a really good punctuation mark on your time here. She's like, now you know that you're ready to get out of here and move on to bigger things. It was very sweet.
It is very sweet.
Yeah.
So you moved here in 2013, mm-hmm. And what did you always want to do stand up? Because you started like right at the end of college. What did you study?
English lit. And then I had like I was like an English and psychology major, and then I was like an English and math major, and I was like failing my math classes.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is stupid.
Why are you majoring in math?
I liked it. The big thing, and actually I was doing well, but then I was taking a summer course, and I went through a breakup with my girlfriend that summer. So I went back to Toledo, and I would drive down one day a week because it was a one-night class through the summer. And I just fucked off and like failed that class so hard. And then I started to retake it the next summer, but I was so, I guess, rusty with math that I was doing shitty again. And my dad was finally like, just do English. Like, nobody cares. And I was like, yeah, you're right. So yeah.
So when did you first get introduced to comedy? Were your parents big comedy fans?
Not really. Like, we were Christian, so Christian comedy. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's a guy named Mark Lowry he was part of a gospel group called the Gaither Vocal Group, but he would also do like stand up in his like singing special. It was very weird, but like we were very into that. I loved Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler's sketch comedy album, my brother had, and we would listen to it.
It's so good.
It's so good. We would listen to that a lot. And then it was probably around the turn of the millennium when I was in like middle school. I got super into all the Comedy Central presents. Jim Gaffigan's first one, Dane Cook's, Lewis Black, Maria Bamford, so many of them. Yeah. So I was really, and I just knew I liked it. I didn't know that I would do it, but I was very into it. And I thought it was cool. Yeah.
And how Christian were you?
I mean, I have a bit about it, but I went to church 3 times a week when I was growing up. Pretty intensive. It was called the Christian and Missionary Alliance. It's like an evangelical church. They place a huge emphasis on missions. So when I was a kid, we would have like missionaries stay at my house like a couple times a year. To like solicit funds for like overseas missions and stuff like that. My brothers both went on like overseas missions trips for like a couple weeks at a time, stuff like that. Yeah.
Are you still? Would you describe yourself
not
still
even
as
a little bit? No.
What about your brothers are?
No. My middle brother probably held on to it for the longest, and I think my middle brother would still call himself a Christian, but he's not like intensive. And my older brother and I are very much not. At least agnostic, maybe atheist.
Yeah, so when did that happen?
Just towards the end of like high school. I don't know. Before I stopped believing in all of it, I was like, well, I'm not going to say I'm a Christian and be like a bad one, because I was like getting high and having sex, and I was like, well, I don't want to say this. You're Jewish?
I'm Jewish, yeah.
Okay, nice.
But also like most Jews, more agnostic.
Sure.
Yeah. God. But I'm always, because that's why I'm always interested with people who are like raised Christian. Because with Jews, like whether or not you're observant, it's like you're still Jewish, you know? And then like, so it's always interesting to hear like when people are raised Christian, like it always feels like I don't know if my parents ever believed in God, but like we went to all the things, you know? And then I've been doing this bit that I started that is like, after my brother died, you know, people would say things like, "Oh, what kind of God would do something like this?" And it's like, I read the Torah. It sounds a lot like something God would do.
That's very funny. Yeah, it's like,
killing in the first one, classic play.
Are you not familiar with God's work? This is like a B-side.
Yeah. But so yeah, did you? Was there like any contention in the household when you guys sort of moved away from it?
Not only a little bit. My parents were actually really good about. They had a very healthy saying, which I loved, which was, "Our faith can't be your faith."
Oh,
so yeah, they like raised us to be Christians, and they wanted us to believe it, but they knew that at some point they're like, we can't make you believe it, you know. So
right.
At some point, we just have to let go. And to their credit, like truly. Even now, like my dad is like a hardcore Christian, but he doesn't go home and like I get a lecture or a sermon or anything like that. He's very accepting, so it's good. Yeah,
that is good. Yeah, and were you like when you were? Was there like a moment where like it clicked in your head of like I don't believe any of this stuff anymore? Or do you feel like it was like more of like a gradual thing?
It was really gradual. And then I have had that moment where I'm like, I don't think I really believe in any of this, you know? But at that point, I was so emotionally unattached to it that it wasn't like this, like, it didn't rock my world to be like, oh, I don't believe in it. I was just like, over time, years after I had stopped going, I was like, yeah, I don't give a shit. I just am so tired of worrying about hell or God or any of this, you know? And there's holes in the argument, you know, and you do ask those questions of like, what kind of God would allow this? What kind of God would allow this? You know,
yeah.
Is the Christian God really going to burn, you know, gay people in hell and then let, some insurance CEO go to heaven.
Right.
Right.
Well, that's also another difference between with Jews is like we don't have hell, so there's never like that threat. There's just guilt of like don't disappoint your parents. That's like that's all it. It's never like there's never like you're gonna go to hell. It's just like people are gonna be upset with you.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing.
By the way, thank you for saying that. I've gotten in a fight with because one of my favorite classes in college was Intro to Judaic Studies, and we talked about there's no Jewish concept of hell.
Yeah.
Really. And I have said this to multiple friends, and they're like, "No, Jews believe in hell." And I'm like, "I don't think they do."
Jews have said this, or non-Jews?
No, non-Jews.
Oh yeah, we don't. It's funny. There's no like specific like thing of what happens when you die in Judaism. It's like actually, like Jews are like we don't know. Here are like some of the theories, but there's no hell. There's like there are like different ideas of like. Sort of like heaven or like reincarnation or like just kind of nothing. That's those friends are wrong. Those are some wrong.
Thank you.
Those goys are wrong.
Casey McGowan, suck my balls.
Yeah, you hear that, Casey? He's a big fan.
I'm gonna send him the episode.
So what did your parents do when you were growing up?
My dad was a surgeon, and then my mom was an ER nurse when they met. She stopped nursing after I was born. I'm the youngest of 3 boys. And then she did a bunch of different stuff. She, at one point, was going back to school to be an elementary school teacher. She never finished her degree, but she always worked part-time as like a teacher's assistant at my elementary school because she started volunteering when my brother and I were still in school there, and she just loved it. So she just kept doing that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what do your brothers do now?
My oldest brother is the head of the, I believe it's the Romance Languages and International Studies Department of Central Oregon Community College. He teaches Spanish. Spanish language and culture. And then my middle brother is a pharmacy tech at, I think, Flower Hospital in Toledo, Ohio. Yeah.
So nobody doing anything evil in the family, basically.
Nobody doing anything evil. We're just, probably me. In my day job, I work with AI, so it's bad for the environment. I am not proud of it. Yeah.
Was there a point where you were doing comedy full time, or have you had a day job the entire time?
I mean, a hot minute I was doing comedy full time for about 4 or 5 months. And when I say doing comedy full time, I mean hemorrhaging money and not making it work. But I'm anxious to get back to that.
When was that?
That was probably 3 years. It was the summer of 2021. Yeah. I was working at an office job, and actually the last thing I did for the office job was like during the pandemic, everybody was working from home. My job was I was the only one going into the office. So they would pay for me to take a car to and from there. I would make sure the place didn't burn down. I would ship out laptops to like different hires and stuff like that. And then the last thing I did was like work with liquidators to get rid of a bunch of stuff. And then we sold the office space. And then I stepped away after that because it was very stressful. Yeah.
And then so, but when you were doing, was there like something that made you be like, I think now I'm at a place where I can do stand up full time, or?
Yeah, but I was wrong. But that's okay.
What happened that made you feel that?
I just thought I was really funny.
Oh, okay.
And I also was I was seeing some money from my first album from Serious Plays, which was not, in hindsight, an insane. Because I was like, oh, wow, this is a good amount of money. But that I thought I could live off that, if worse comes to worse, from just that was insane and stupid thinking.
Well, how much was it?
At most, it was $1,500 a month.
That's like rent.
Yeah. And in my dumb mind, I was like, that's all I got to pay for. And it's like, no, man.
I feel like that is like a comedy brain thing. Because I've had that thought before where like I'll get like... Because like most of my time in New York, I've been substitute teaching, and I would work like 1 week and be like, oh, I got $1,000. I can just work. Oh, that's my rent. I can work just 1 week a month. And it's like, that's not how it works. That's not how.
I guess you can do that and then not exist the rest of the 3 weeks. Yeah.
So what did you think you wanted to do as a kid?
I had no plan, genuinely. that lack of a plan has come back to bite me in the ass many times. But genuinely, this was the only thing that I liked, and that I was like, oh, I will work hard at this. Yeah.
This is the theme of the podcast. This is something that comes up consistently on episodes of just not have and for me too, I think it's like a thing of like, this is just the thing I want to do, and it'll either work out or it won't.
Yeah.
Did you have any other like arts or creative things that you did as a kid?
I was creative. Yeah, I was like a musical kid. My whole family, we all had to take like piano lessons, and then we played in orchestra. I was in theater when I was in like high school. I didn't really want to be like an actor. I had a band in high school that I was like, we're gonna make it, and it was like, no, we are not.
What did you play?
I played keyboards and I sang. I was the front man for Groove Stump.
Groove Stump? Do you still sing?
Not like with any habitualness, but I can carry a tune. I'm a pretty good singer.
All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, not
okay, all right. I'm going to try. So, okay, were your friends that you were in the band with, were you like the only one that was like, we could do something with this? And they were all like, we're just going to have like normal jobs? No,
I actually think we were all like pretty ambitious with it. And we were, as far as like high school bands go, we were actually like pretty good. We just, we all left. We went to different places for college. You know, we weren't going to give up on higher education, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But to varying degrees, I think almost every person in the band is still a musician or working as a creative now, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so what was the thing that made you decide like I'm going to give stand up a try?
I think it was just the timing of it. I knew that I started like my last year of college. I was thinking about going to grad school, not for any express reason. I was just like, I guess that's what I'll do next. But it was going well enough that I was like, maybe I'll just find a job that like I can afford to live in a shitty apartment and try hard at this. And it went well enough that by the time I was like, maybe I'll up the ante and go to New York. And now it's later. Yeah.
So how you've been in New York for
12 years
12
now.
years?
Yeah. Or 12 years.
You think you'll die here?
I don't want to die here. In fact, I don't know how I'll leave because I love it and it is my home. But anytime I see an old person in New York, I wonder if you have this. Aren't you just a little sad? You're like, why are you here?
Yes.
Be anywhere else.
I always felt that way because I went to college in Vermont, and I always felt like I don't want to live here like post-college, but this is definitely the place I want to be old in.
Vermont
Every time I would see old people in Vermont, I'm like, that this is the place to do that.
Yeah. That is actually I've said this to people, my dream is to have a place, doesn't have to be on the water, but I would like it to be within 3 miles of a lake that I could take a kayak to, and that is how I would like to get old.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, that sounds so nice. I'm not unrealistic. I don't think I'll have a cabin on the water, but I would love to be able to drive a short distance.
You could maybe afford a kayak one day.
I think I can. I think I can afford a small hatchback. Maybe one day a teeny tiny shack and a kayak.
And that's all you need.
Yeah. Maybe a dog too.
Maybe, that's another thing I was thinking about. I was in Cape Cod with my family last week, and their dog was there, and I'm just like, man, it would be so awesome to just like live in somewhere nature-y just with a dog.
Yeah.
Just it'd be amazing.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, but then I couldn't do stand-up, and I'm like, it's tough. Because I know some people are like, oh, I don't think I've heard people say like, oh, I wouldn't want to have like kids in New York. I have no like, I think it's fine. I think plenty of people grow up here. It seems like to me, I just really want to have a dog, and this is a hard place to have a dog.
It's a very hard place to have a dog, and I often think about that. I always, always, always want one, but you got to work really hard to take care of a dog well, and doubly so here. You know what I mean? So I'm gone enough that it would suck for that dog. But someday, maybe.
Someday. So let's get back to the album. Or the special, I suppose. What's the title? You got a title?
I don't yet. We're just about to start on the editing process, probably tomorrow or Sunday. And I had the same thing with my album. I didn't think of a title beforehand, but I kind of like to think about that as you're editing. I always like albums or specials that have the phrase somewhere within them. You know what I mean? So I'll probably think it over and yeah.
What was your first one was called?
My first one was called Sweet Baby Boy. And then... I can't remember his name. Fuck. And he's like a friend, and he's so good. I think Brad Weitzler I was going to call it Sweet Nothings. And then I realized after I had settled on I themed the album title, or the album cover, around the title Sweet Nothings. And there's another brilliant comedian who has Sweet Nothings as the album title. So I changed it to Sweet Baby Boy, because that was what my parents called me. My mom, facetiously. French bulldogs. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. The podcast studio opens to the street, everybody.
You used to have a joke about how you love French bulldogs.
I love them. Yeah. They're the best.
They are.
It's on the... I think it's on the... Yeah,
I think it is on your first album. Yeah. They're a funny looking bunch.
Yeah, New York City's lousy with them.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
That's the perfect kind of dog to have here. That's the thing. It's like if you're gonna... I like big dogs, like real like mutts that like and for New York you got to get like a French bulldog or like a mini labradoodle. Like
people are always like, those dogs have health problems, they have breathing problems, and you're like, you don't understand the kind of lifestyle I lead. I need a sick dog. I need a dog.
I need a dog who's less healthy than me.
Yeah, I need a dog who is as pissed off as I am when he needs to go outside. You know, we're both just like, fuck. And then it's like, let's get this over with. Yeah.
So what else do you talk about in the special that you feel like, because obviously, you know, you have the breakup material, you have the dead mom material. Mm-hmm. How do you weave that in with your other material, which is, would you describe yourself as like an observational comic? Like,
no, I think more
storytelling. What would you describe yourself as?
If not full storytelling, just kind of like anecdotal, or confessional, right? Like, which is like, this is what I'm thinking about, and as it relates to my life, kind of like diary entries, short ones. Yeah, and I didn't so much weave in the other material as I just like segmented it, because I kind of took the strategy I took the whole time when I was running the dead mom material in the city, which was like, all right, I'm going to do like half of this, like just fun, silly shit. I think I have bits about money, growing up religious, cat sitting, a little bit more dog material, and having kids versus not having kids. And then the rest of the album is breakup stuff, my mom died, and my dad stuff a little bit. And that's it. And
having kids versus not having kids, where do you fall on that right now?
It's too late.
Too late?
Yeah, I'll be 40 next year. I'm not destitute, but I don't have a life that is set up. If I found out I was having a kid tomorrow, it would be an emergency. And I don't think that's a way to have a child. Yeah. But I like kids. It's not a bummer because I wasn't like aiming for that, but it wasn't that I was like avoiding that either. It just didn't happen for me because of the way that I have chosen to spend my time, which is fine. I'm at peace with it.
Yeah. Do your brothers have kids?
My oldest brother has a daughter, my niece. She's great. My middle brother does not have kids, so just one grandchild, and we're all pretty happy. Well, she's pretty bored.
Yeah.
I think she wishes she had cousins, but again, that's a bad reason to have kids.
Yeah, my niece is bored. My niece needs a friend.
Yeah.
Get her a pet. That's fun. Being an uncle sounds fun.
It is, genuinely, and I like it a lot. And she's a very good kid. So I'm always excited to see her and be around her. Yeah. And I say that with her being probably the most annoying she's ever been at this age.
Well, how old is she?
She will be, 2011, so she'll be 14 around Thanksgiving. Jesus.
Yeah, that's an annoying age. That's a tough age for anyone to be. Because when I work at schools, middle school is that basically like 5th to 9th grade is just the worst age of children.
Yeah.
They just, all they want to do is be mean.
They all, well, and it's also like they're so, the meanness, it's weird because it's a defense mechanism, right? And it's sort of where you learn that, I don't know if you're like me, but any sort of meanness you have to yourself, you can kind of trace it all back to that age. You're like, why am I so mean to myself? It's like, oh yeah, this was me beating other people to the punch, trying to, you can never hate me more than I hate me.
It's weird. That's when you develop all your insecurities, because the kids like younger than that, they don't really have much insecurities, and they have so much more they should be insecure about.
Yeah.
But what were you insecure about as a child?
Oh, God. When I was that age, I was very insecure about my body. To this day, I'm insecure about my belly, my physique. The phrase dad bod really did a number on me. I'm really insecure about this. Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, kills me. Any picture that has this.
That's part of why I keep a beard. Let's just
I wish I could grow one.
You can't?
No, not anything like commendable.
Yeah.
Every couple of years, I try to grow a mustache. Actually, my mom at one point was like, every time I would do a family vacation, because I wasn't embarrassed around them, I would stop shaving maybe 3 or 4 days before. And then I would not shave the whole time. And I remember one time my mom woke up and she was like, go shave. Jesus. It was pretty funny. Yeah.
Were your parents, so when you started doing comedy, were they supportive?
Yeah, extremely. Too supportive. My parents have never once, I waited for the other shoe to drop at different times where I'd be like, for sure, I've had to borrow money from my dad, and I've had to had them bail me out in different ways, and just they've watched me do really well comedically. They've also watched me fully eat shit. And I've always waited for them to be like, yeah, maybe think about something. And they just never did. Never once. And it to the point where it's almost irresponsible. I love them. I'm grateful for them, but it's like, Jesus, weren't you going to tell me at some point?
My parents are very similar. I have a joke that I do about them where I'm like, they're very supportive of me doing comedy, which lets me know that they don't believe in me.
That's really funny.
Yeah,
that's very funny. There's also there's different versions of this joke, but people are my parents support what I do and they believe in me, so I'll probably be a failure because every wild success had a parent that was you'll never make it.
Yeah, I have never had anyone telling me you can't do that.
Yeah.
The people are like, oh, it's gonna be hard, but they're never don't. That's terrible.
Yeah. If anything, everybody's like, oh, it's so neat that you do that.
That's the reaction. Everyone, which it's you almost like going to family reunions or stuff, or you want to be you just kind of want people to be shitting on you. Yeah. And everybody's like, that's so cool that you do comedy. What's that like? And it's God, it's I have no money, but it's good.
Yeah. I always play this game with myself. I borderline wanted to try this as a bit, but I do the if I could tell 13 or 14-year-old me what I'm doing now, would he be like, that's awesome? And I think that he would if I left out several key details, right? Yeah. It would be you do comedy in New York City. Sometimes it doesn't really pay enough. You know what I mean? You fall in love with a beautiful woman. She rips your heart out and you're really piecing it back together.
That's really funny. I think you could do that as a bit.
Okay.
For sure.
I think
that's very funny.
Maybe I'll bring it back. I'm going to write it down.
Write it down.
Whoa! You've got that queued up? That's really cool. All right, I got it. All right. I'm going to remember that those are there.
Yeah. I'm still, I've been doing the podcast here since January. I'm trying to figure out the soundboard.
That's so fun. That was hilarious. I was like, give me 2 seconds. And you're like,
that was perfect. I think that's the first time. I've properly used any of the sound cues.
Yeah. But yeah, that's how I don't know. Do you ever think that way? Where you're
all the time.
Yeah.
Because I literally, if I'm living I am living my childhood dream of doing stand-up comedy in New York. But I also like have no money. It's also like other things where like, you'll be like, a video you posted online had over 1 million views.
Yeah.
It's done absolutely nothing for your career. But like, it's, yeah.
I had a similar thing. In fact, this was so, because I had a relative who I'm not like blood related to, but we were talking about this person is going into the arts and they are graduating. He's graduating from college and he was talking about moving to New York and wanting to pursue stuff. And I was trying to be like frank with him where I was like, you should be Sam. What? I should be Sam. I should be Sam. Oh, fuck, no. And I was like, I think that if you need to accept that like, it might not go the way you want, but if you can always hang on to like, I genuinely love the doing of it, then it's going to be okay. And I was like, I came here and all I wanted was it to be my full-time career. And instead, it's turned into like a pretty killer part-time job, which is not what I want, but I don't hate that. And I was like, I don't know, if you can get to like a similar place and you feel like that would be enough for you, or at least while you're doing it, you don't hate it, then do it. And then, of course, we were talking about like Twitter followers and TikTok, and this fucking kid has like, I think like 80,000 followers on TikTok, and I was like, I'll kill you.
Yes.
To give somebody that advice and then immediately be jealous of their followership, I was like, I'll kill myself after I kill you.
That's okay. Is that something you've tried as a bit?
No.
Okay, you should write that down because that is also funny.
All right. All right, I got it. All right, thank you very much. I'm desperate for, so far, post special filming. I'm trying to take a week off from comedy, but the one thing I am doing is waking up every day and writing, and I want to get back on a very good writing kick. So that's what I'm doing.
So what is your writing process like? You sit down and write?
I have not been this way for some time, but when I was at my best and my most productive, with the exception of the dead mom stuff, because that would just come about naturally, because you're always thinking about it.
Of course.
But I am at my best and my most productive when I just sit down and I free write, and I don't necessarily try to think of anything funny. Sometimes it comes, like something that, if it's not funny, it's interesting. But if it doesn't, that's fine. I don't put weight on it. And if I'm being really good about that, I immediately start to notice that even if I don't get anything out of that writing, like throughout the day, your brain is just kind of primed and you do think of stuff throughout. That's when, the little notebook comes in handy and you're like, all right, I'm going to think of this. I'm going to think of this. I honest to God, I feel like a huge part of everybody's writing process from now on should just be staying off your phone. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That's my I'm really trying to stay off Instagram. I have the brick. I've got the brick.
You got it.
I forgot to brick on my way here. I'm so mad. But I read my book. I didn't go on Instagram, which was good. I don't know. But free writing has always been the biggest thing. It's either that or I'll sit down and actually just try to come up with punchlines. I'll give myself like a half an hour and I'll be like, come up with 3 punchlines. They don't have to be good. You just have to write them down.
When you sit down and write, is that pen and paper or laptop?
Pen and paper. Any laptop, any sort of machine is going to take me out of it. I will not be focused. I've had friends who have spent money on stuff where it's like essentially a digital typewriter just for that, so they can't like go online. But for me, I like the pen to paper. And also, I just think it's a confidence thing. If I have a notebook in my hand or in my bag or something like that, and I pick it up and I'm like halfway through it and I can feel the literal weight of the pages, there is a subtle psychological thing. It like gives me confidence. I'm like, no, I have done the work. I deserve to be here. I deserve to be on stage. I am funny. I am thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I feel similarly. Most of my writing, I would say, is just in my notes app. It's just I'm very bad at sitting down and writing. Occasionally, I will, but for the most part, it's in my notes app, and then I kind of like work out the bits on stage. But I always carry a notebook with me, and most of my notebook, sometimes I will journal or like write out bits in it, but for the most part, it is to-do lists and set lists. And I think it is kind of just that feel. There's a feeling of accomplishment from getting through a notebook. Like every time, 100%. And when I finish, and I get like excited when I'm like, oh, there's only 10 pages left in this, and then I get to open a new notebook.
Yeah, I also never, and I always bought and wrote in notebooks as a kid. I swear to God, I never finished a notebook until I started doing comedy. And then I would finish them. And it is, I very much agree with that. It's such a thrill to get through one and be like, oh my God, I did it.
I think same, yeah. And it's like, and because now, I mean, my notebooks where I think, I know some people have like, this is my like date book, and this is my, journal, but for me it's just one thing. I'm too scatterbrained to have multiple things to keep track of. Right now I have a little one and a big one that I've been using, but I kind of just go back and forth between the two.
I might start doing this because this also helped me to for notebooks, especially the tiny one, the way I do it is I do set lists back to front. So I start at the back, and that's my first set list in that notebook, and then I work back to front, and then premises or ideas or notes after sets I go front to back, and the notebook's done when I finish in the middle.
And you mean the middle?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's kind of fun.
Yeah. And then I haven't done it in a while, but I think I should again. I will buy a Moleskine planner, like week book. And something I was doing before the pandemic is I would, if I was feeling really jaded about comedy, or not if, I was. And so I started doing this thing each week where I would force myself to write down like 2 or 3 jokes that I heard somebody else tell. And be like, so-and-so had this funny bit about this, and I loved it. And it would just make me remember, like, oh, you are a fan of this. Like, you like this thing. Because it's so easy to watch and just be consumed by, like, jealousy or just get tired of comedy, But if you actually take that time to be like, this was a really good joke this person has. I laughed really hard at this. I like this. It's great.
So that brings something up for me, which is as a fan of comedy and somebody who does comedy and somebody who's friends with a lot of comedians, how do you balance that aspect of the like competitiveness and the jealousy that you feel towards your peers with like just being happy for them and enjoying it? Because I know, and I've been doing stand up not quite as long as you, but even still, you get to that point where you're like, wow, all these people I started with, some of them doing way better, and like are you able to just be happy for people, or is there a part of you that's jealous? How do you navigate that?
I think jealousy is inevitable. You have to just be honest with yourself about it. I used to do this thing where I would be frank with friends, and I'd be like, Stop being
frank. You gotta be
frank. And I hate that so much. I would tell them, I'd be like, I'm really happy I would tell them first that I was proud of them and happy for them. And then I'd be like, I am jealous, but it's only because, and then I was talking about it in therapy once, and my therapist was like, I get the instinct, but you are, in that moment, you're like putting something on them. They need to make you feel better about your jealousy. And she's like, that is your feeling to navigate. And so I stopped doing that, because I do agree with that. It's like, it sucks, and you have to parse through it. But it's nobody's job to make you feel better about how you are, I still think it's incredibly important to be honest with yourself about it, because jealousy is going to color other emotions, right? So like you can start to feel resentful, but if you can put the brakes on for a second and be like, I am just jealous. I'm not actually resentful of my friend. My friend is my friend. They're funny. They worked hard for this. They're kind to me. This is just me wishing I had what they have, but that's okay. That's normal, and I need to separate those things. Yeah. Did I answer that?
No, I think perfectly answer that. And who's your friend that you've been the most jealous of?
Oh, God. Do I have to answer that?
You don't have to, but you can.
That's a pretty vulnerable. There's a bunch. I've always been jealous of Shane Torres, my buddy, Steve Rogers. But these are guys that they deserve above and beyond what they have. In fact, I wish they had more than what they have currently. So, that jealousy isn't. I'm proud of that.
I think that's true. And I'd say, the same for you and for anyone that I have on the podcast, where it's like, the title is like, why aren't you more famous? Because it's like, it's kind of like it's a real question of like it doesn't make sense. Like you're good at this thing, and you start whenever you start doing an art. I think that there is sort of an expectation of like as long as I work hard and I'm good at it, I will become successful and famous at it. And it's like it doesn't really work that way.
Yeah. And you do. I mean, it's hard to say without having that voice in the back of your mind go, yeah, right, you fucking loser. But
right.
you do have to be like, well, what is success to me? And what is valuable to me, and is this still something that I love? Yeah. It'd be so funny because this podcast is called Why Aren't You More Famous? If somebody came on and you asked that question and the person, instead of saying any of this, was like, oh, probably the allegations. I think it's the allegations that have been damning me for years and aren't true.
I think my favorite answer that anyone gave to the question of why aren't you more famous was I had Tommy Bayer on, and I was like, why aren't you more famous? And he said, I'm not that talented and I don't work hard.
Oh God, I love Tommy Bayer. He is that talented.
I know. That's also what I was so annoyed by. I was like, I don't know I can't speak to how hard you work, but he's just that answer alone proves that you're so funny.
Yeah.
So okay, why aren't let's get to the question. Why aren't you more famous?
Probably a true lack of, or if it's something in my control, I would say it's a true lack of confidence or a fear of failure. I had a professional failure at Montreal, just for laughs, which is not really a big deal, and I'm over it now. But for years, that haunted me, truly, and made me feel like a choke artist, and made me feel like I had like blown it or something like that. Yeah.
Can we talk about that? About what?
Yeah. 100%. I've talked about it a lot.
So what happened?
I just went and bombed.
This was doing JFL New Faces.
JFL New Faces, yeah.
And, what year?
2014. And I just had 2 sets. One was like a truly bad bomb, and then the other was like fine. And it sucked for me. But that's okay.
So how long have you been doing stand-up at that point? Only if you're pretty new to it.
Yeah, I was just under 5 years.
So that's pretty early to get.
That is pretty early.
And who else was in your class?
A bunch of people. Let's see. Probably the biggest name that was in my class. Well, they had unrepped and they had repped, and I was in unrepped. Mm-hmm. And the biggest person in unrepped was probably Lisa Traeger at that time. But a bunch of really funny people: Brendan Eyre, Zainab Johnson, Noah Gardenswartz. And then in the rep, there were like about Hassan Minhaj was probably the biggest name when I.
That's a pretty big name.
Yeah, he was probably the biggest success story of that year, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, and who else was in the rep? Do you remember?
A guy named Jake Weissman, who was behind Corporate. Remember that show, Corporate?
Yeah, I do.
On Comedy Central?
He created that show?
Yeah, he created that with another guy. I can't remember for the life of me. Whitmer Thomas was there. I can't remember a ton of other people from Rept, but yeah. Oh, Mateo Lane.
Whoa, so those are three pretty big ones.
Yeah,
and Hassan Minhaj.
Yeah, actually, Mateo is probably one of the more and Mateo. God bless Mateo Lane. I remember like I ate shit, and Mateo was like the only person who was simultaneously did not lie to me. He was like, I mean, you're an adult, and I don't need to tell you how that went. And I was like, thank you. Because everybody's like, it wasn't that bad. And I was like, it was. But he also was like, this is fine, and you're going to be fine. And it was really sweet. Yeah.
How did he do? Did he crush?
I mean, he annihilated. Yeah. Mateo.
And he was...
I can't remember the last time I saw him have a bad set.
He was like... Because I remember hearing him talk about it on a podcast. He was like less than 2 years into stand-up or something crazy.
Was he really?
I think so. I think it was something crazy like that.
I mean, he always has been wildly talented, like from the get-go. I remember open mics with Mateo and being like, he's about to annihilate.
Who else were people at open mics that you remember thinking like, this guy is going to just destroy it and be huge?
I remember doing open mics with Michelle Wolf. She would, always do really well. Who else? Emmy Blotnick. God, I remember Emmy Blotnick, who I wish was, I think she's very successful, but Emmy Blotnick, for my money, is like maybe one of the funniest people out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who else? There's so many people. Yeah, that you see all the time. I mean, I remember doing mics with Jordan Jensen, who's blown up.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. I think she's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, so did you feel, so going to JFL, getting new faces, did you go into that, is it just a weekend? Or is
it's like a extra long weekend. It's like 4 or 5 days around a weekend, yeah.
And it just happened as we record this. It just was like last week or something.
Mm-hmm.
And multiple people that I know from open mics have gotten it, and all funny people, so I'm happy for them. But
do you want to know something that is fucked up and sucks? I did it, and because I didn't have the time of my life, I had an actively bad time. I still get jealous when that list comes out every year, and I did.
And you already did it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, okay, so going into that weekend, were you like, this is going to change my life?
I didn't know that I was thinking that, and then as soon as I bombed, I realized I had been thinking that, and that is why it made it so devastating for me. Because instead of just being able to take it in stride, my head was swimming, and I was just like, oh, failure, and I felt that way for like a couple of years,
And do you feel like maybe you got it too early, and if you had gotten it later, it would have gone better, or?
I don't know. I really don't know. I certainly think I'm much, much better now than I was then. So it's possible. Yeah, maybe. But, that's not, I guess that's not really for me to say.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you started doing stand-up, how did you envision your career going? Like, were you somebody that, because I know I'm a very ambitious person. I think a lot of us comics, where I was somebody that was like, I saw Louis and was like, I'm going to do that, the show, I'm going to do the show, not the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah. Should have known. I don't know. Yeah, I maybe that actually could be a good answer for why I'm not more famous, is I'd never had a good plan in regards to this. I always just wanted it to be my job, and maybe I should have aimed higher. And maybe hopefully it's not too late. Maybe I can aim higher.
I think I think having it, and at this point that is kind of, and I think with moving to New York, I think I had like very grand ambitions and like visions of like what I could do, where I was like, I want to be on SNL and write for the Daily Show or something, and like but really all I really wanted was like, I want this to be my job, and that's still all I want. Mm-hmm. And I even saw a couple of friends of mine, Chicken Big, Iban Kulkarni, Tej Khanna, them?
I don't.
They're stand-ups. Are you
saying words right now?
Those are Indian names.
Oh, okay. Got it. Sorry.
They're two members of this improv group that they were just on America's Got Talent. They're also very funny stand-ups that I'm friends with. So I just saw them in their America's Got Talent thing. They like, how they gotta like make a story. They talked about like, oh, like if we win this show, maybe this can be our job instead of like a second job. So it's like, I still think that is ultimately the goal. It's just like, how do I make this the main thing I'm doing?
Yeah. Yeah. God. Isn't it funny how that's all you... maybe that is it. I don't know. My dreams aren't really that big.
I don't think they even... I was just wondering if you... Because there's some people that like, they have, they see themselves as being like, I could do anything that anyone's doing. And then for other people, like it really is just like, I just want to do this. And I think that's the healthier mindset. I don't think it's... Because it's also like, the dream of doing stand-up comedy as your only job also is hard. Like, it's not like that's like shooting low.
It is hard. Yeah, I don't have that anymore. I don't have... Well, and especially because, like, I think I know at least better who I am comedically than I used to. And I also know that, like, I don't watch anything that any comedian does and I go, I could do that, But I also don't feel the need to be like, I could do that anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I do what I do. I think it's good. I hope it gets better. And I hope I continue to grow. But I don't know. There's so much comedy out there. And there's so much. And it's all so very identity based now, which is good. But like, that's fine. You know, that kind of frees me. I'm trying to figure out how to say this the right way. I don't watch a black lesbian do comedy who is very funny and go, I could do what she does. I couldn't do what she does, and that's good. You know, like I think that's the bright side of like when you think about like comedy being identity based now. It's like no, but that frees you from any sort of expectation. You can only be who you are. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I'm also excited to edit this and just cut that so it's just you. It's just you saying, I don't watch a black lesbian do comedy.
And that is the audio thing that you put up top. I don't watch a black lesbian do
Wanda
comedy.
Sykes.
All right? I've had enough of her. But you know what I do know. I think I was saying that clumsily.
No. I think I think you said it in a way that made a lot of sense.
My apologies to the black lesbian community, but you know what you did.
Are you done dating comics?
God, no. I don't know. I don't set out to do it, though. I think I really have this reputation as a guy who dates comics. And maybe that's because I am a guy who dates comics.
Your last girlfriend was not a comic.
No, she was not.
She was not. How many comics have you dated?
Seriously? I would say... sorry. That was rude. It's a day job thing. Seriously, I would say one, really. Comedy's Carmen Legala. You know her.
Friend of the pod.
Still a friend of me.
Yeah.
And then I have dated other comics, but I guess if you would say like... define serious for me. Is it a length of time thing, or
I guess it's up to you. It's that feels like it's one of those things where it's like you're the one who decides.
I have been in love with 2 comedians. Yeah.
How many people have you been in love with total?
Too many.
Too many? You think you fall in love pretty easily?
I tend to fall in love too easily.
Me too. I like that song. You know that song? Chet Baker?
Actually, maybe not. But if I'm being sincere, probably like 4 or 5 people. Which I'll be 40 next year.
Yeah.
That's not that bad.
Do you stay in relationships for a long time?
I didn't before Carmen, and then I was with Carmen for 6 years, and then my last girlfriend I was with for 2.5. Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. 6 years. That's a long time. I didn't realize you guys were together that long.
Yeah, just over 6 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And then it ended. She ruined it. Bitch. Slut. No, I'm just kidding.
It's good you guys are friends.
We are very good friends. I would say that to her face. She's one of my favorite people in the world.
All right. Unfortunately, we gotta wrap up. That's on me for getting here so late.
No, you're fine.
But I'd love to talk more. But I'll end with asking like what do you wanna plug?
I will. Unfortunately, I should have come ready with a title, but my special will be out this fall. We're looking for, so probably September or October. I'm really Sam Evans on everything. So that is Instagram, Facebook, Twitter to YouTube. Please subscribe to my YouTube. That's the new thing.
Subscribe to the YouTube.
Next 6 months, I have under 100 YouTube followers right now, and I've just found out that is really bad. So if you have 1,000 friends that want to follow me on YouTube, please do it. And I do have an album. It's called Sweet Baby Boy. It's available everywhere you listen to music or albums, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's good. Yeah. Do you have anything that you want to plug, Adam?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
No, but thanks for asking. And what I like to ask people, what do you recommend to the viewer, to the listener? Any good comedy you've watched lately? Any movies? Any TV shows? Any books you've read? Just anything you want to recommend?
Okay, really good.
Music, anything.
My favorite special that I've watched over the last few years is Beth Stelling's Netflix special. I think it's so good. Big Beth Stelling guy. Anything that I've read? What did I read earlier this year? Oh, you know what I read? The Ministry for the Future. It is a sort of science speculative fiction. It is about the climate crisis, but it takes sort of this look at like how would we live in a world in which the climate starts going haywire and we are dying? And could humanity survive, et cetera, et cetera? It's very good. It's called The Ministry for the Future. That's a really good book that I enjoyed this year. Yeah.
Sam Evans, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, man. Yeah. I feel like I was too serious.
That was great. That was really good.